Hello and welcome to the F1 News Zone, the show we round up all the biggest stories in Formula 1 right now. We're currently in the 2-week break between the Canadian and Austrian Grand Prix, but which stories have been catching our attention most this week? This week, George Russell is concerned that the Formula 1 popularity boom may turn to a bust before too long. Ferrari are reportedly considering firing Fred Vasseur and replacing him with their WEC boss, and Max Verstappen's absence from the New York F1 movie event has been explained. All that plus a whole lot more is coming up in today's show. If you're watching on YouTube, skip to the timestamps in the video description below to see the story that you're most interested in. But without further delay, let's dive in. Interesting article here on the F1chronicle.com concerning the popularity of Formula 1 itself and how George Russell, one of its most prominent drivers and of course the most recent man to win a Grand Prix, winning sensationally in Montreal last weekend, he's not ruling out a popularity collapse. Of course, Formula 1 has been booming for the last 10 or so years, ever since Drive to Survive has really come into the fray. But at the end of the day, all good things must come to an end, and people have been asking, when is the slump in Formula 1 going to occur? When's the popularity of it in general going to decline? Well, it hasn't happened yet, but Russell is not ruling that out, and here's why. I'll go into exactly why here for you guys on the F1chronicle.com as always. So George Russell has warned Formula 1 to stay alert in order to avert a slump in popularity. Among other key members of the F1 circus, including Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, other active drivers, and Brad Pitt, the sport celebrated the New York premiere of its new Hollywood feature film on Monday, of course, F1. You'll be left in no doubt as to what that film is about. In the real Formula 1 world though, Montreal pole sitter and winner George Russell, who is also in New York this week, finds himself politically entangled with the sport, often at particular loggerheads with the current FIA regime. F1's Liberty Media-led commercial side, however, is absolutely thriving, but Russell warned that amid the difficult political climate, he is not tempted to step down as co-director of the GPDA. No, the Mercedes driver told motorsporttotal.com, because right now we are riding a wave as a sport, but if you fall off the wave, things can go downhill very quickly. So we all need to remain very vigilant and not take Formula 1's current position for granted. Russell hailed Liberty Media and F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali for successfully taking the sport to a much broader audience. But it's like a Jenga tower, he said. If a single piece falls, the entire structure can collapse. So we mustn't let up now while we're in this strong position. The upswing can disappear just as unexpectedly as it came. That's why this phase is perhaps more crucial than ever. It's like that old adage in football, isn't it? Strengthen from a position of strength. If you win the league title, keep buying, keep improving your squad, never rest on your laurels. And I think that very much does go for Formula 1 as well. It can't take this success for granted. It needs to keep innovating, keep expanding, keep making itself more accessible, more palatable to audience, basically. And in fairness, they are doing that. There is a Formula 1 movie, Drive to Survive, is still doing really well on Netflix. There are other motorsport series on there as well, such as the Formula 1 Academy series. It's on Netflix now as well. Formula 1 is still booming. Of course, that can slump away. If the 2026 regulations, of course, are a bit of a dud, then that will not help its popularity. If the title fight this season ends prematurely, if we see Oscar Piastri, for example, run away with it with 3 races still to go and he's won the title, that will not help its popularity. Although, in fairness, Max Verstappen winning it 4 times on the bounce in the last 4 seasons, that hasn't seemed to really hurt Formula 1's popularity. A lot of the controversy around that has really helped. So, as long as the product is good and people are enjoying it, for lack of a better term, it's going to continue going great. But can this be sustained? Can it continue to grow like it has been doing? I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. What do you think Formula 1 has to do? More of the same, or is there something they need to do differently? I'd love to see it go back to being free to air on television around the world, but realistically that is never going to happen from not only a revenue point of view, but also from kind of a PR point of view as well. Formula 1, it has a right, or at least it thinks it has a right, to be on these exclusive channels. So we'll have to see what happens there, guys. A guy can dream at the end of the day, but realistically that's not going to happen. But yeah, your thoughts in the comments below. There's a lot of rumours going around Ferrari at the moment that Fred Vasseur's days are very much numbered at the Scuderia. The current team principal is coming under a lot of pressure, and there are rumours that he will be replaced at the end of the season. But aside from Formula 1, outside of F1 right now, Ferrari are doing pretty well, to say the least. They won the 24-hour Le Mans, one of the triple crown points of motorsport, for the third year in a row. The first time they've managed to do that at Le Mans since the 1960s. And in fact, Fred has praised their stability, their consistency, something that unfortunately the F1 team finds very difficult to very much maintain. But let's have a look here, guys. Let's have a look at the full story, because I've not really covered it here on the F1chronicle.com yet. I gave a mention to it on motoring. Check that out if you've not already. But I've not really gone into what happened at Le Mans and all the fallout from that yet on this channel, because a very famous face, someone who I really think could have been a true legend of Formula 1, and in the eyes of some is already a legend of Formula 1. Robert Kubica was one of the 3 drivers that piloted that Ferrari to victory at Le Mans. So let's have a look at the F1chronicle.com, guys, as always. As rumours and dark clouds gather around Fred Vasseur, the embattled Ferrari team boss hailed the Le Mans success of his former colleague Robert Kubica. While Christian Horner has been mentioned, the big candidate to potentially replace Vasseur for 2026 and beyond is Antonello Coletta, whose current responsibility is to lead Ferrari's successful WEC effort. It is normal that Vasseur is under discussion, like Gazzetta dello Sport's Luigi Perna insists. The name of Coletta, the man of the Ferrari miracle at Le Mans, is being circulated as a replacement, and it is not surprising. John Elkman's confidence in him is at its highest, while Vasseur, whose contract is expiring, is paying for the team's lack of growth and some questionable internal decisions. Kubica, whose career was badly affected by arm injury sustained whilst rallying in 2011, won the fabled 24-hour endurance race at the weekend at the wheel of a Ferrari hypercar. Vasseur paid tribute to the 40-year-old Pole. He's 40 years old now. I suppose Hamilton's 40 as well, actually, isn't he? I'm getting old too. I remember when Kimi Räikkönen had COVID. Robert got in the car at Zandvoort on Saturday morning, and in that narrow pit lane he could hardly turn the steering wheel or activate the clutch. He had never driven the car that year, but in that race he fought with Sebastian Vettel until the last corner. This was at Alfa Romeo, for you guys wondering, which is now the Sauber team. I genuinely forgot he super subbed in back in 2020 for the Dutch Grand Prix, or 2021, whichever year that race was. It was incredible. He's had a hectic career, but thinking back to the determination he put into it makes me really happy with the result he achieved, Vasseur added. And amid the current speculative turmoil surrounding his own future at Ferrari, Vasseur floated the theory as to how the WEC arm is managing to thrive. I think one of the advantages for the Le Mans team is stability, he said. This consistency and the experience of those who run the team are key. The stability is a very good thing. As for the unrest in the F1 team, Lewis Hamilton departed Canada saying he was deliberately keeping quiet about what he knows. There are things I would like to tell you, but I can't, said the 7-time world champion. There are a lot of things going on in the background. My aim is to influence the changes in a positive way so that there can be long-term success. Cryptic. Very cryptic there, Mr. Hamilton. For what it's worth, if he's referring to Fred Vasseur, I think if anything he would be wanting to keep him there. Fred Vasseur, I believe, was one of the big reasons why Hamilton wanted to go to Ferrari. Of course, deep down, we all know he wanted to go to Ferrari at some point. He's made no secret about that. There's been rumours about Hamilton going to Ferrari for about 15 years before he actually made the move. And Fred Vasseur, you know, he's someone that he knows from back in his time in GP2, what is now Formula 2. So if he is trying to influence things on the Ferrari board, I think he is probably trying to lobby to get more time for Vasseur. And I think that is the sensible decision, as I've covered here numerous times, guys, ever since these rumours started to circulate in the media. But yeah, your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Is Vasseur going to be Ferrari's team principal next year? I think they should absolutely do that, but will they do that? Answers on a postcard. So the Formula 1 film had its New York premiere the other day, and Max Verstappen was not present for it. Of course, Verstappen was not present for the Monaco premiere a few weeks ago, and he wasn't there in New York City either. Now, why was this? Why was Franz Hermann not present? Well, it might have something to do with the fact that he was actually completing a test on the same day. Not a Formula 1 test, but something else. I'll explain all here on this video, guys. Let's have a look at why Mr. Hermann, Mr. Verstappen, was not present at this premiere of the F1 film. While many of his Formula 1 rivals Here with this article on the F1chronicle.com. While many of his Formula One rivals swapped overalls for formal wear on Monday, quadruple world champion Max Verstappen stuck with his overalls and helmet. The who's who of the F1 paddock jetted straight from Montreal to New York to join Brad Pitt and other Hollywood luminaries for the glitzy premiere of the sport's new feature film. Verstappen, though, having also skipped the recent private Monaco screening of the F1 film, instead headed to the iconic Spa-Francorchamps circuit in Belgium. Late on Monday evening, while the New York event was in full swing, the Red Bull driver's private plane touched down at the Flamiège airport, not far from Spa. On Tuesday, he was up and testing at the wheel of the Verstappen.com Racing branded Aston Martin Vantage GT3 car, reportedly helping to prepare his team for the forthcoming 24 hours of Spa. I also sincerely hope that it is a good and successful film and that it has a positive effect on Formula One, Verstappen has said after Sunday's Canadian Grand Prix. You just shouldn't force me to go somewhere because that's not quite how it should be. The 27-year-old's name was not far from the lips of those on the red carpet in New York. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff continued to tread the very thin line between lambasting Red Bull and continued to leaving the door open for Verstappen. Wolff called Red Bull's post-Canadian Grand Prix protest against George Russell's driving behind the safety car ridiculous and petty. But both Wolff and Russell made clear Verstappen was not involved in their decision. I know 100% that Max was not behind this because I know for sure that he would never choose to protest something so unimportant. It was very much a Horner move, I think that's what he's more than alluding to there is Mr. Wolff. Russell, who was also in New York, agreed. I don't think Max even knew about the protests. It's an awkward situation for Russell, however, as he is the one most likely to be ousted if Verstappen does indeed leave Red Bull Racing ahead of the huge 2026 regulation change. Wolff defended his decision to leave Russell's contract unextended for now. It's just a question of timing when we will sort these things out, he said. Now we have the triple weekends, back-to-back races in June and July, but we will manage it. George has been in the Mercedes Junior program since he was 16, so whether he wins a race or what kind of performance he will have has no bearing on the decision. We will know exactly what he is capable of, Wolff added. Very cryptic there. I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. They should absolutely extend George Russell's deal, but it's likely just down to the fine print of it, down to the clauses, the wages, all that sort of stuff, really, when it comes to commitments from both Mercedes and George Russell. You know, I still do think that one day Verstappen may well go to Mercedes, but I don't really see it happening for 26. I'd be absolutely shocked if that happened. I think it's just a matter of time with Russell, really. But yeah, I mean, look, there's no problems with Verstappen not attending the F1 premiere. You know, he was doing something practical, and hell, if he just wants to go and chill out at home for a week or whatever, because we've got a 2-week break now in F1, then that's up to him. That's his choice. Hell, he's got a really young family. Obviously, you know, his baby being born recently. So, you know, if he wants to do that, all power to him. If he wants to go and test his car for his GT3 team, you know, go and do it. You know, all power to him. No problem whatsoever. I'm sure there'll be some people moaning about it, saying that, oh, he's got no commitment. Why is he not appearing at the red carpet event for the F1 film? If he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't have to be there. That's his choice. It's an invitation, not an obligation. And that is what it should be at the end of the day. Simple as that. So yeah, your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Are you hyped to watch the F1 film when it comes out? I certainly am. I'm going to see it in just over a week's time when it's out here in the UK. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, let us know your thoughts about it in the comments below. So when Franco Colapinto was announced as the replacement for Jack Doohan at the Alpine Formula One team, it was initially announced that he had a 5-race contract to impress. Next weekend's Austrian Grand Prix is the 5th and final race of that agreement. Now, in that time, Franco has not managed to score any points, but in fairness, the Alpine car has not been the quickest either, although, of course, Pierre Gasly has been able to score points on a few occasions during this run. So, is Franco going to be axed? Has he improved on his results enough to warrant an extension in this regard? Well, Flavio Briatore, the acting team principal right now for Alpine, has rubbished those rumours, saying that there's no chance that Franco Colapinto is going to get axed. And indeed, he has also said on top of this in the past that there is not a 5-race deal with Franco, it's to the end of the season. So let's have a look at what Big Flav has had to say this time. Full article on the F1chronicle.com as always. Flavio Briatore has lashed out at a journalist who asked him about rumours regarding Franco Colapinto's future at Alpine. In the official statement revealing that Jack Doohan had been ousted and would be replaced by Colapinto, it said that the Argentine rookie was only promised 5 races. Briatore, who is the team's executive advisor, denied the 5-race limit, although he said that Colapinto's initial outings had left him unhappy. A journalist for La Voz del Interior newspaper asked Briatore about the ongoing rumours about the 21-year-old's driver's futures. What rumours, the 75-year-old hit back? I don't think there are any rumours, Briatore restarted. The team is fine with Franco, period. He is part of the team. I don't know what you're talking about. Some, however, have noticed that when speaking about Alpine's current driver lineup, he often also mentions team reserve Paul Aron. Mick Schumacher has also been linked with the Renault-owned team as well. Of course, Schumacher does drive for Alpine, albeit in the World Endurance Championship. The problem is that the press publishes a lot of rubbish, Briatore fired back. It's your fault, not ours. You're the problem, not us. In fact, if you continue like this, it's not good for Franco at all. If you're really a professional and want the best for him, you have to support him, not push him. He's not very self-aware, is he? He's saying this after everything that he said about Jack Doohan. I don't disagree with him. I think we should treat these drivers with respect, but clearly he didn't do that with Jack, who is actually one of his own drivers. He manages Jack, so I think that is more than a little bit hypocritical of him there, although I do agree with what he said in principle. According to the aforementioned original media statement, Austria could be Colapinto's last Grand Prix at the Alpine cockpit, as it completes the 5-race run since Imola. When asked about that, Briatore insisted, "I already said, the only deadline is for you. We have to support Franco. He is young, a good asset to Argentina and is doing well. We have to support him, and in Argentina, they have to do the same. Forget those rumours. If there are rumours, ask me." Well, I mean, there are rumours. I don't believe them personally, but there are rumours, so to deny them like that completely is a bit wishful thinking, a bit deluded for being uncharitable there. I don't know. Maybe we need to support Flavio Briatore more. Maybe that'd be best for him. I don't know. The real victim in the Crashgate scandal, of course, Flavio Briatore speaking there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he actually said that, by the way, if you missed that story. I'm not just saying that out of spite. He did claim that. Yeah, I mean, for me, he's obviously going to be in the car for the rest of the season. I think you should always give rookies a season chance anyway. I think they should have done that with Jack Doohan, but obviously reasons behind the scenes prevented that. Flavio Briatore signed him, Colapinto, for a lot of money, $20 million. You're not going to get rid of him. He's not. He's going to be there for the rest of the season. I think it is time. I think there's a very difficult car to drive as the Alpine, and clearly he's not got on top of it as quickly as what he did with the Williams. So, maybe he just needs some more time. He's very inexperienced. He's still not done a full season in Formula 1. He's done like half a season now, cumulatively, if you take his Alpine and his Williams stuff. So, yeah, for me, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He deserves time. He deserves time. So I don't believe these rumours for a second. But guys, what do you think? Is Paul Aron going to be in the car? Is Rio Harikara going to be in the car? Is Jack Doohan going to make a comeback after Austria? I just don't see it personally. But your thoughts are always appreciated in the comments below. So Max Verstappen is already thinking about going to Le Mans. This has very much been a rumour for a long time. Of course, Verstappen himself has said that he's already completed more than half of his Formula 1 career and that he wants to go out and explore other things. In fact, his twin brother Franz Hermann was recently testing, of course, at Spa-Francorchamps. I can't say that with a straight face, guys, I'm sorry. Obviously, Franz Hermann, Max Verstappen's alias, was out testing at Nürburgring and also the Spa-Francorchamps circuit in Belgium recently as well, the GT3 car. So, he's very much thinking about endurance racing, and he's competed in things like the virtual Le Mans in the past as well. So, I can really see it's been a career path for him. Of course, he's already won the Monaco Grand Prix. Does he want to get the triple crown of motorsport? Well, if he gets Le Mans, he'll have 2 out of 3. Then it's only the Indy 500 left. And then he joins the great Graham Hill as the only man to ever achieve that. So, very much speculation. But let's have a look at what Mr. Verstappen has had to say about his prospects, or about the prospects of Franz Hermann in the WEC one day. Full article on the F1chronicle.com as always. Max Verstappen says that he fully intends to take his racing skills into the world of sports cars. While the Formula 1 World raced in Canada at the weekend, across the Atlantic, the fabled 24-hour of Le Mans was taking place. The Ferrari-affiliated team emerged victorious, and Verstappen said he watched as much of the event on TV as he could. The quadruple world champion famously set a record-breaking pace in his recent GT3 test at the notorious Nordschleife, the Nürburgring to everybody else, and on Sunday, Verstappen confirmed he is eyeing not only GT events, but also the Premier Hypercar category. On the Nordschleife, you can only drive GT3, the Dutchman told Viaplay. If you do Le Mans, you normally want to drive the hypercar. If you win, you want the highest class. On the Nordschleife, that is with the GT3, so it's different to Le Mans, but they are also completely different circuits. It is all very special, Verstappen added. He already has his own Verstappen.com branded racing team in GT3, with Thierry Vermeulen, the son of his manager Raymond, in the cockpit. I am working on it step by step to participate, said the 27-year-old, who recently applied to the FIA for sports car classification and was handed the highest level platinum status. Unsurprisingly. He's won a few races in F1 over the years. At the moment, I prefer to race myself, of course. When I get a bit older and slower, I'll watch out from the pit lane. Then, as team boss, I can really criticise everyone who is in the car, he laughed. For now, he spends his time thinking about who would be his Le Mans teammates. I already have a lot of friends who are already competing, said Verstappen. We talk about it more and more often. I know that I am one of the heavier drivers, so I need at least 2 lighter drivers next to me. Weird flex, but okay. Fernando Alonso has been mentioned as one potential candidate, with Verstappen adding, Nick de Vries is quite light, of course. Nick de Vries is tiny. He's like 5'1". My man is like the size of a child. Nick always goes fast, whether it's at Le Mans or anywhere else, except for an AlphaTauri, as it turned out. Too soon? That's nice to have as a teammate. There are lots of possibilities that I can only put three in the car, so that will be difficult. It's very difficult to decide now, but fantasizing is allowed, he smiled again. Once the plans are a bit clearer, it will be easier to work things out. For me, he'd absolutely smash it, no doubt whatsoever. Alonso's gone to there and he's won Le Mans. Even relatively mediocre F1 drivers over the years have won Le Mans. What's his name now? Nakajima. Was it Nakajima who won it a few years back? The Hulk won it, obviously. I'm not saying he's mediocre by any means, but the Hulk has won it. There's some, when F1 drivers go to these... Robert Kubica won it this year. Robert Kubica hadn't been competitive in Formula One for... nearly 15 years since he left the sport. 2010 was his final season of competitive running. I'm not counting that one with Williams. That car was not great, but he was, you could tell he'd been out of the sport for a long time and been severely injured. He did incredible to come back. I am not trying to downplay that whatsoever, but he was not the same Kubica as what he was back in the day. So I think Giovinazzi's won it as well. He's a very mediocre F1 driver. So there is no reason why Verstappen can't go to Le Mans, absolutely smash it, go to Indy, absolutely smash it at some point. I don't see why not. Look, at the end of the day, there's no reason why he shouldn't want to do that. He's clearly interested in it. There's more to racing than just Formula One. There's no reason why he doesn't. There's no reason why he can't go out and dominate the sports car scene as well. The endurance racing scene is clearly consistent enough. He's clearly quick enough. He just needs the car, and there'll be no shortage of suitors to offer him a car. Everybody will want Max Verstappen to drive for them. But yeah. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always. Guys, have a fantastic day around the world today. And do you think we'll see Max Verstappen in Le Mans one day? And if so, when? What year? Give me a year in the comments below. See you soon, guys. Have a great day.